What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/ProRevenge. This story's called Steal Ex-Wife's Car After She Defaults. Edit. Had to fix some things to get it posted, so round 2. I'm not totally sure if this belongs here, but I do know it's not atomic, pro, or nuclear. Atomic? What's that? Also, this is like the third time writing this because it just got so damn long. We all know who me is. Ex-wife and wife, okay? Wife and I got together in July of 2007. July 5th, to be exact. We actually celebrate that anniversary more than the wedding one. We're not really normal. It was ex-wife's idea, sort of. Wife needed a place to stay, so ex-wife suggested she move in with me. Ex-wife just didn't expect things to get serious, and she wasn't happy. She just got remarried at the time too, so wife and I have been together 13 years. Married 6. Like I said, got together in July 2007. The company I worked for got bought out and took over in October. Our last day was December 1st of 2007. I decided I deserved to sit on my ass for a year before seriously looking for work. This is important, I guess. So come spring, and ex-wife is on the same softball team as wife's best friend. Ex-wife keeps going on how she can't wait till I die so she can kick wife out of her house. Nice, huh? Lawyer friend says as long as her name is still on the house, she can, divorced or not. I need to get her to sign a quit-claim deed to get her name out of there. Then we can refinance to get her name off the loan too. So I tell her that when I can't make payments any longer, being out of work for 6 months, that they'd come after her. Not a lie. And I and wife weren't even close to losing said house. Ex-wife doesn't like to work, but her new husband bought her an 04 40th anniversary Mustang that she works to make payments on. Her dream car. Sure, now she works. Didn't when we were married. Soon after getting the house refinanced, we found out that ex-wife was still on my car insurance. She was enjoying my multi-vehicle and house discount. Oh hell to the no. And since I've been with the same company for 30 years, I asked a little favor. Take her off, put my wife on, but after notifying the state and the lien holder that she no longer has car insurance, maybe they could wait a couple of days before mailing X notice. Banks love the chance to insure you for at least double or more. For those of you not in the States, banks and credit unions demand you keep full coverage insurance on the car in case it's stolen, wrecked, you get the idea, right? Now, the big plus when her name was still being on the house, it gave her great credit rating. But for some reason, after the banks that everyone else and her got loans from found out she didn't have access to the house, all her rates and payments went up. And yup, they can do that, or demand the loan be paid in full. Part 2 of the revenge? I know what you're thinking. All that and that's not it? Sad, huh? Anywho, driving home from work one day, I did find a new job. I drove past the bank that had ex-wife's car loan, and there it be, all shiny and white, just sitting in their parking lot. I knew what that meant, so I went inside to have a little chat. By law, they have to wait 30 days for you to get caught up on your payments, or they put it up for auction. Big hassle for them. Also, by law, they can't tell you what the highest bid is, but if you agree to pay off the remainder of the loan, they'd be happy. At least it was worth more than what she owed. But I would have gone over a little, so yeah. On day 31, the wife and I were driving home the wife's new car. And what made it even better, she, the ex-wife, came in on day 32 with the money to catch it up, and they told her who bought it. My number 2 son said she cried all the way home. Oh, life is good sometimes. It ain't much, but it put a smile on our faces. Edit! It was suggested I put this in the story so I don't look like a complete jerk. It's still down in the comments, but here it is. To clear up a couple of things, yes, I did have the house before the marriage, but I was in love, so I added her to it after we started having kids, so in case I died, the house would be hers and the kids. It was literally a quickie divorce. Judge points to her, you get everything you want? Yes. Points to me, same question, same answer. Bang gavel, divorced. Didn't even think about the house. Thing is, if she didn't run her mouth to my wife's best friend, friend, we never would have worried about it. Now, as to why it was her idea the wife move in when things got serious, she made our lives hell. To the point, wife was going to move out and end the relationship. Yes, ex-wife was remarried, but she's a floozy and thought she could bounce back and forth between beds. And the biggie? We had to do a DNA on all 3 of our boys for reasons I won't get into, and none of them are mine. They still call me dad, and they're still my kids. Hell, the youngest, now 19, has nothing to do with ex-wife. Calls her by her name, and all 3 call wife mom. I hope that clarifies a couple things. Wow, that actually really does, and that's so cool that, you know, you're not making them feel like, oh, I don't have a dad. It sucks that your ex-wife sucks, though, but it's a good thing that you got a cool new wife. I'm assuming she's cool because you're married. Then again, some marriages are bad, but I'm just gonna assume. This story's called Evil Cheerleader Gets Shown What Evil Truly Is. So I was reminded of this when an old school buddy found me on Facebook the other day. I apologize for the length of this story and will put a teal deer at the end. Now, before I became a friendly, cookie-loving teddy bear, I was a thin, mean, little theater goth who got into frequent fights. It's what happens when you're black, nerdy, and gay while growing up in rural Virginia. I especially could not stand it when people pick on my friends. In comes the evil cheerleader. We'll call her B. Now, some of you might be rolling your eyes at this. Evil cheerleader? Oh no, what a terrible cliche. But our school was a little different. You see, she was the only evil cheerleader. The rest of the team was super nice and did a lot of inter-school outreach. Anyway, B liked to stomp through the hallways like she owned the place and would viciously bully anyone who looked at her wrong. Naturally, my confrontational ass would stare at her like she was a bug every time I saw her. Up to that point, she'd only had beef with me. We'd trade insults, she'd start a rumor about me, I'd pour soda on her hair, that sort of thing. Then she saw me with one of my shy theater friends who we'll call K. I was more than B's match, so instead, she chose to go after K. K was such a wonderful human. Never said a bad word about anyone, was always willing to help people, and she made the best s'mores cookies. K also had the unfortunate habit of just letting people treat her however they wanted and not saying anything about it. So imagine my sheer fury when I see B slamming K against the locker by her hair, calling her the N-word. You want to try to bully me? Fine. You want to call me outside my name? Fine. What you will not do is come after my friends with racism and violence. Not today, baby girl. I immediately ran over and slapped B as hard as I could. Now, due to my height and ethnicity, I've been taught that I shouldn't start physical altercations with women as it never looks good. I care just enough to not deck that cooter. As B was picking her face off the floor, she thought it would be a good idea to double down on the racism.
All you N-words are wife beaters!
Come again? I slapped you because you were hurting my friend. What the hell is wrong with you?
She stole something from me like the dirty monkey she is!
Again, what the hell is wrong with you? Her insults really weren't making any sense. Looking back, I think she was just trying to say the most racially offensive thing she could think of without any real consideration of reality, which is just terrible roasting technique. You know what? I have less than 0 craps to give you right now. You come near my friends again, and I will literally snatch your uterus out with my bare hands.
We'll see what my boyfriend says about that.
Oh no, not your boyfriend. She walked away spitting more bullcrap, but at that point, I chose to ignore her and focus on Kay, who had a small knot forming on her forehead. I took Kay to the nurse's office and begged her to report B. Kay didn't want to because I might get in trouble too. I told her that I didn't care, slapping that bimbo was worth it, but Kay didn't budge. After Kay got an ice pack, we were both sent back to class, and the rest of the day went on as usual. After school, I was on my way to anime club. Yes, I'm a weeb. And who would show up but B's boyfriend, who we'll call Bob. Now, Bob was a soft-spoken guy who only got cool points because he was on the football team. Peel off the football team luster and you have a walking, talking doormat who's about as intimidating as a medicated cotton ball. So him and his boys waltz on up to me, spitting some wannabe threatening line about making me disappear. I informed him that I own waterfront property on Wish Island because I wish a bimbo would. Oh man, I wish I could say the word. His friends laughed at him, which exasperated the snot out of me. Most punks are all talk. You stand their ground and they'll back off, unless they have their friends with them. The moment they lost face in front of their crew, true, they become much more likely to do something stupid. So of course he rushes me. Now, I've got something of a conundrum. I'm scrappy, but I'm by no means a badass. There are 5 of them and 1 of me. So if I can drop this dude, I have to be able to either put on a good show so they don't engage, or run. Considering I was extra as flip-flop, I decided to put on a show. I use Bob's momentum and I slam him into a nearby locker, putting my forearm on his throat. Now, I don't remember what threat I whispered to Bob, but I'm gonna assume it was effective because he went still. Now, what I do remember was what happened next. Now, due to how I was holding him against the locker, our bodies were pretty close. Too close. Because I felt something press against my thigh. Now, I'm thinking it's a weapon or a phone or something. Nope, it was his erection. Homeboy was aroused. Why? No clue. All I do know was that things had gotten really awkward. I let him go and hightailed it out of there because I'm equal parts what the fuck? And did that really just happen? During anime club, I told Kay all about what happened. She laughed because of course she did, but then a look crept in her eye. It was this devious little smirk that I had never seen up until that point. She looked at me and told me that if we wanted to, we could use this to teach B a lesson. I'm thinking she meant like a rumor, using this to insult her, but no. Kay had something far worse in mind. It's true what they say about the quiet ones. So after a few days and some additional planning, it was time to put our revenge into motion. I found Bob and asked to speak with him privately, so we went into the spare classroom that the school never really uses. After some back and forth, Bob confirmed that he was bisexual. Some cringe-worthy flirting later, Bob and I are making out, all according to plan. B would walk in, see us, and be humiliated. Now, I do want to mention that hindsight is 2020. We were teenagers and we really didn't understand how problematic this plan was on a social scale. B deserves some karmic justice, but this really shouldn't have been it. That being said, Bob was an eager beaver. He didn't stop at just making out. Yeah, went down south if you catch my meaning. Me being homosexual and admittedly starved for a little attention really didn't see any reason to stop him. So when Kay led B into the room, she got to see Bob's head, well, bobbing. And me with a contented smile. A smile on my face. Okay. Now, to B's credit, she was not homophobic towards Bob in any way. In that highly problematic situation, she had plenty of opportunity. She was, however, furious at him for cheating on her with one of her sworn enemies, and an N-word to boot. She screamed at him for almost 15 minutes before a teacher had come by and demanded that we head to class. Later, B found me at lunch and called a ceasefire of sorts. She agreed to only target me if I agreed to stay away from Bob. I agree, knowing full well that Bob was coming over to my house that afternoon. B and I would continue to antagonize each other until I moved away, but it was never as severe. In some ways, I think we kinda broke her confidence a little. Oh well, don't be a racist cooter and people won't want to get back at you. I can't speak English, guys. Truer words have probably been smoked. I can't English. Shoot, this was a crazy story. Hope he's cool for doing what he did. This story's called Steal My Medication, I Make You Seriously Regret It. No, sorry, seriously regret it. So when I was 15, I was diagnosed with bipolar schizophrenia. Now, despite how TV shows and movies portray it, not all schizophrenics are serial killers. If you can keep your medication in balance, you can live a perfect, normal life. From the age of 15 to 20 was rather hard as we tried to find the right balance in medication for me. But it had been 11 years since I was first diagnosed, and has been 6 years since I had any really bad symptoms. There has been a few minor issues when my meds would go out of balance, but nothing too extreme. Anyway, this happened 3 years ago. I had just moved into a new apartment with 2 roommates. We will call them Zach and Rachel. Yes, those are their real names because screw them! Anyway, due to my illness, I take multiple medications. An antipsychotic, antidepressants, and an anti-anxiety medication, to name a few. room. These are all rather strong medications. So when I moved in and got settled in, I started to notice some of my meds start going missing. I have my pills counted out and ready, so I know exactly how many I have. I immediately suspect my roommates, as they were the only ones with access to my room. I also knew for a fact that they took other medications to get high. They were pretty open about it. But I had no proof, and I didn't want to risk pissing them off as I had to live with them. So I looked past it, hoping it was a one-time thing, but it wasn't. After a few days of this, I lost it and confronted them. They denied it, and of course, I had no proof. I even got a lock for my room, but somehow they still managed to get in. So here's where the revenge starts. So due to all my medication, I get constipated a lot. So I have a very strong laxative I take when this happens. They are tiny pinkish pills. If you don't know about medication, you could easily mistake these for something else. One morning before heading to work, I took my antipsychotic pill bottles and switched out the pills for my laxatives, and then I left. When I came home that evening, both roommates were in the washrooms. I asked Rachel what was wrong, and she made up some bullcrap food poisoning excuse. They spent the whole night in and out of the bathrooms. My medication stops disappearing after that night. Heyo! Stealing medication from people that need it is a horrible thing to do. And freaking, who knows, man? If you're the type of person to steal medication, you're also the type of person to think, oh no, crazy person that killed me. Do you want to die, bro? Do you want to die? Exactly.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.